The breath of life, how inhaling air becomes inhaling consciousness. Take a moment right now to stop reading and simply take a deep, conscious breath. Notice the way the air expands your chest and then gently recedes. This simple, unconscious function, performed nearly 20,000 times a day, is the most profound tool you possess for shaping your mind, your emotions, and your very state of being. The idea that when we breathe air, we're breathing in consciousness is not a flowery metaphor, it is a unifying principle, affirmed by ancient texts and now validated by cutting-edge neuroscience. The reason this concept is so powerful is that the breath sits exactly at the crossroads of your voluntary and involuntary nervous systems, the place where mind and body seamlessly merge. Here, we dive into the first principles of this connection, drawing on the wisdom of millennia and the precision of modern science. Part 1. The first principles of universal life. For to understand why breath is consciousness, we must first look at how ancient cultures defined the life force itself. They recognized that the wind, the breath, and the spirit were all manifestations of the same essential, invisible substance. 1. The Eastern principle, Prana. India in Vedic and yogic traditions, the concept of prana is the central principle. Prana is more than just oxygen. It is the vital life force that animates the entire cosmos. The definition, prana is cosmic energy, a universal current that moves everything. Your physical breath is merely the most accessible, measurable manifestation of this greater energy field. The goal, the practice of pranayama, prana plus ayama, meaning extension or control of the life force, is built on the belief that by controlling the breath, one directly controls the flow of consciousness. As the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali suggest, controlling the breath leads to the stillness of the mind, the inner universe. The ancient Indian texts Vedas and Upanishads present a recursive view of reality. The universe is mirrored in the body, the breath, and the mind. The Upanishads famously detail how prana is the one essential component, stating that while sight, hearing, and other senses can be temporarily lost, life ends quickly without prana. 2. The Western principle, Pneuma. Greece. The ancient Greeks arrived at a strikingly similar conclusion through philosophy. The term, the Greek word pneuma, means breath, air in motion, and spirit. This single word perfectly captures the mind-body-spirit connection. Stoicism. For the Stoic philosophers, Pneuma was not just air but an intelligent spirit, a tenuous substance akin to a current of air that was immanent in the universe as God and in man as the soul and life-giving principle. This pneuma was specifically regarded as the material that sustained consciousness in the body. Cosmology. Philosopher Anaximenes observed that just as our soul psyche, being air holds us together, so do breath, pneuma, and air encompass the whole world. This established pneuma as a cosmological principle, a binding force of consciousness. By merely connecting these definitions, the ancient wisdom is clear. What you inhale is the conscious energy that powers the universe. Part 2. The Neuroscience of Conscious Control. For centuries, this was a matter of spiritual faith. Today, institutions like Stanford and Harvard are mapping the exact neural pathways that turn conscious breathing into a switch. For your state of mind, the breath's direct line to the brainchunks has uncovered a cluster of neurons in the brainstem that acts as the physical bridge between your automatic breath and your conscious mind, the pacemaker and the spy. Researchers at Stanford University School of Medicine identified a tiny cluster of approximately 175 neurons, located in the pre-Bitzinger complex PrebTC, the pacemaker for breathing. These neurons don't just regulate breathing. They spy on it and report their findings to the brain's locus coeruleus, the arousal switch. The locus coeruleus is the structure responsible for generating arousal. It governs alertness, attention, excitement, and anxiety. The Stanford study proved that the neurons linking the breath to this center activate its long-distance projections, promoting brainwide arousal, the result chilling out when you breathe rapidly. These neurons signal danger, activating the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. Conversely, a study published in Science demonstrated that when breathing slows, the signal changes, resulting in a pervasive sense of calm and tranquility. This confirms what yogis have known for millennia: controlled, slow breathing offers a direct pathway to shift from an aroused or frantic state to a meditative one, a deliberate shift in consciousness, the vagus nerve and emotional regulation. When you breathe consciously, You bypass the emotional center of the brain, the amygdala, and send a calming signal through the body's superhighway, the vagus nerve, the parasympathetic power, deep. Diaphragmatic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the body's rest and digest mode. This is the physiological mechanism that actively reduces the stress hormone cortisol, creating a psychophysiological relaxation response as confirmed by Harvard Medical School research, the deep breath and blood flow. Research is now showing how controlled breathing literally alters brain activity. High ventilation breathwork, often accompanied by music, has been shown in neuroimaging studies to induce altered states of consciousness similar to those evoked by psychedelic substances. These studies noted profound changes, including reduced blood flow in the posterior insula, a brain region involved in self-awareness which correlated with deeper sensations of unity, bliss, and emotional release, often called oceanic boundlessness, increased blood flow in the amygdala and hippocampus, suggesting enhanced emotional and memory processing under controlled conditions. The philosophical conclusion from modern science. Modern science gives weight to the philosophical view that consciousness is not a single location like the brain but a body-wide unified process. The rhythmic flow of the breath, the dynamic repolarization during inhalation and expiration is what maintains this homogeneous conscious experience. As philosopher William James asserted, the modern focus on I think Descartes often forgets the I breathe that actually accompanies all of our objects of thought. Part 3, The Practical Art of Conscious. To Ning To use breath to expand consciousness is the ultimate form of self-mastery. It is the active process of turning the fuel of life into the essence of inner development. 1. Diaphragmatic mastery. Harvard's prescription. The first step is to shift from shallow, vertical chest breathing associated with anxiety to deep, horizontal belly breathing, the technique, the diaphragmatic breath, as advised by Harvard Health Publishing. Sit comfortably and place one hand on your chest and one on your abdomen. Focus on feeling the exaggerated expansion in the stomach on the inhale, keeping the top hand still. This practice is the simplest way to elicit the relaxation response. 2. Volitional control. The Yoga Sutras. Ancient methods like pranayama use specific pacing to achieve specific states. For instance, slowing the breath to 10 breaths or fewer per minute down from the normal 12 to 16 is scientifically shown to cause a strong, beneficial shift to the parasympathetic mode. The practice, taught in Tibetan Buddhist traditions and validated in Western settings as described in the Harvard Gazette. Practices like vase breathing or deep breath holds increase inner vitality and end the stress cycle by giving the body a chance to calm down. By becoming aware of and regulating the pace, depth, and rhythm of this most fundamental function, you are not simply changing the oxygen level in your blood. You are deliberately modulating the neurological signals in your brainstem, choosing to engage the structures of calm and unity, and actively tuning your personal frequency to align with conscious, expansive energy. The breath is the literal portal to your deepest self.